This episode of Noise of the Broke Boys is brought to you by the Trash Can. Do you struggle with finding a place to dispose of your used Rogaine bottles? Does it haunt you that you have to keep all those terrible dance moves because there is no place to rid yourself of them? Or maybe your name is Frodo Baggins and have nightmares about hiking through Mordor, trying to find a place to discard of the ring to rule them all. Well, I'm here to tell you that Gandalf did not die, and in fact, he brought the perfect solution to your disposal needs. Throw those used Rogaine bottles into a trash can. Hey Frodo, no one has time to climb mountains barefoot. Tell Bilbo to throw the ring into a trash can and spare us 6 movies and 4 books. Hey whack dancers, take that goofy floss move you love to do and floss yourself right into a trash can. You can obtain a trash can at your local municipality and help clean up this beautiful world. And now, on to the show. In today's episode, I talk with a dancer I've known since I first began battling. He's a member of San Jose, California's very own hybrid crew, a crew that I've personally battled many times as a young b-boy, and wouldn't be who I am if it weren't for the rivalry we shared. As I grew older and got to know this guy more, I grew a deep respect for his hard work, hustle, and dedication to bettering himself and the hip-hop community around him. I'm excited to sit down with my friend Tech. Please enjoy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Noise of the Broke Boys. This is your boy Kurt, and I'm here with my friend Tech from Hybrid Crew. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Just wrapped up a show with my friend Emiko, and I think it went really well, and now I got you on here. And so for people who don't know, you are from the San Jose scene, the California San Jose scene, as a b-boy, right? How did you get involved in breaking in hip hop first?
Yeah, it really. I was surrounded by it in middle school, where there are a lot of dancers. And they're just learning breaking, and everyone was doing the flow arts with the glow sticks and all that. But no one really taught me. And I was always on the side. I was curious, but no one ever showed it to me until in high school, where I started wrestling and I started Aikido. And then that's where I got to mess around. And
you beat him up and made him teach you?
Yeah. It was just like, and on top of that, I was starting to work out in middle school and high school. Okay. And then I got kind of tired of working out. Yeah. It was just getting boring. And I looked towards...
You were like buff for no reason. And you're like, I need to do something with these muscles.
Pretty much, trying to flex in a more creative way. Yeah, that's what it was. And then I saw that, and even in high school, I come from Limbrook, near Cupertino. There's just a lot of people dancing. Within my class, there are like a lot of people in color guard, a lot of people in cheerleading, a lot of people doing. Even we had every homecoming, we had this like skit that we do for the whole school for each class. And our class had the most dance numbers. My senior year, we had like Bollywood in there.
Oh, that's cool.
Guys dance, guys advance dance, girls advance, couples dance. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
All of that. So I was just surrounded by it. And then the b-boys in my class were really good. They were the guys who just pretty much watched the Battle of the Year tapes and just like bit a lot of their stuff. But they're good at that.
They're good at it. They're good at biting.
Yeah. Back then, it was like whoever had like the most flares had like the most. It's pretty much, because our sports team were really bad, our football team sucked balls.
Man, that's like my high school. Our sports were like all right. And I don't know. But then, we had all of our b-boys, and we, if you had the most flares, you were the coolest person. And I had zero flares, so I was like zero cool.
Yeah, my high school was exactly the same, and I was there too. I was just like, damn, these guys can do a flare mills combo like nothing. Yeah. And then here I am with like a freeze.
I don't think I learned a windmill till like I was out of high school, and then I was like, oh hey, look at me, I can do it. And then all the high school kids are like, oh yeah, that's cool, I guess. But now you're old.
Yeah. So that's funny because when there's like our sports team really sucked, but the people who dance are like the jocks of our school.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so I got into it, and then by senior year, I was able to throw down like windmills and flares, and then barely halos. I was probably the only one learning halos back then. The other guys were learning elbow air flares and air flares.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was also trying at air flares by senior year.
Okay.
Yeah, so those were like the big moves. And there is still footage actually of our homecoming skit on YouTube.
Really?
If you look up 2005.
I might have to.
Yeah, I was really bad. I crashed my Halo on my solo.
Yeah, who is good back then?
Oh yeah, there was the old school in my high school. Like
actually, I remember Drift being really good.
Yeah, but they're from the east side, San Jose.
Okay,
so I'm on the west side.
Oh,
totally different like bubbles. I would say I was in my own bubble in Cupertino, and actually I've heard a lot of stories of the B-boys before our classes. There would be like really crazy dudes with shirtless would throw down in the middle of the quad on concrete.
Oh, damn.
Windmills, like really old school good windmills.
That's crazy.
There's like another school, Cupertino High. They had like B-boys that's like really dope, and they can do flips and everything. So actually one time I would see someone just had like a little in the parking lot, with the cars. It's almost like a scene from Too Fast, Too Furious. Where there's like, they have a cipher in the middle of the cars. And then I happened to drive by. I was like, whoa, what is that? Turned around. I was like, oh, damn, they're dancing. And I called one of the guys out, and he smoked the hell out of me. Back then, I barely had like any like hand hop and the freeze. And this guy did like crazy hand hops, backflip, and then flares. I was like, okay, you got me. And then I left.
Was Vin Diesel there at all?
He might as well be.
Yeah.
Actually, back then, the car culture was like pretty hot too. The import culture.
That was probably like early 2000s, right?
Yeah, when I was like a freshman, all the upperclassmen, they all had really like rice rockets and muscle cars, and
my brother had one.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, when I grow up, I probably get like one of the cars to get the chicks. But in the end, by senior year, I only had a Honda Accord.
Dude, yeah, no, yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I'll get all these girls with this car, and then I had a Ford Tempo. That was busted. It was a piece of crap.
But yeah, back then, cars and dance was like the culture at where I am at.
Okay, cool. And so that's how you got involved in breaking, and then like how are you introduced into like the rest of the scene, like the rest of the hip hop scene?
Yeah, that's a crazy thing. I'm actually kind of like the outsider in the core group of like the B-boys at my high school, and they went to probably an Out for Fame or one of the jams in the Bay that was like huge. And they came back with like stories about how like crazy the jam was. And I hear about it. I was like, what is this? Like, I didn't even know what a jam was.
Yeah.
I was like, I was interested, but I didn't want to be like the kid who'd be like, yo, what is that? Or like, hey, let me in on this.
Yeah.
So I try to play it cool and try to kind of figure it out like on my own. And then when I started looking around it was when I had auto tech at Dianza College. There's a class for working on cars, and there's some B-boys there from another school, and they're like saying how they knew I kind of break, so they're like saying if they're asking me if I go to practice at the YMCA, at the local YMCA.
Okay.
And I was like, no, what is that? And it's like that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to this practice.
Yeah.
I remember it was Saturday, and then as soon as I found out about it, that was like the one thing in the week that I look forward to every week.
Yeah.
And then it was at the practice where I start hearing jams like Return of the B-Boy.
Yeah. Okay, I think I was at that jam. Man, that was so long ago.
Yeah, I keep hearing about Return of the B-Boy. It was just a jam in Palo Alto. And I was like, kind of like hovering to see if anyone could kind of like pick up that I'm interested. And luckily, one of the homie, he was like, yeah, you trying to go? I was like, oh, sure. I played it cool, but inside I was like, yes, I want to get in on this jam. And that was my first jam, Return of the B-Boy.
That's tight.
13. I think it's the last one at Mitchell Park in Palo Alto.
I remember going to the last one, so that was probably the one that I was at.
Yeah, I think it was like 2005 probably.
Yeah,
that was like, it was huge too.
I remember DSD1 did some crazy crap there. I mean, there was a ton of good crews there.
Yeah, Oakland Breakers were there. Renegades,
Headhunters.
Headhunters. There. Everybody was there. When there was like so much beef going on, I was like, what's going on? Ciphers, everybody. So when I braked, I was like, okay. I remember watching some of like the old Cujo videos, like the ads, of him throwing stuff. And then that's all I had. And I didn't know about footwork really.
Yeah.
And then when I went to the jam, it's like everyone is like moving 2 times speed. I was like, whoa, how can you move so fast? And then I was like, first time really seeing like real footwork.
Oh, yeah.
And then on the other side, I see like a nerdy Asian kid doing a rollback air chair, like solid air chair. I was like, damn, even the nerdy kid can like hit some crazy stuff.
Yeah, and then you find out it's Johnny Awful or something, and you're like, oh, no wonder he can do that.
It's crazy. But yeah, Return of the B-Boy was like hype. There was like a line out the door kind of thing. It's like,
yeah. I feel like I have a similar kind of upbringing a little bit. I mean, I started in high school, and then actually the way that I got involved with the scene was we were known a little bit because we were like battling like other schools, we would just kind of like go and hang out with some people, and then we'd be like, oh, they got B-Boys here, and then we just battle them or whatever. And there was this other crew from a different high school that was in the South Sac. I was in North Sac, and so these guys came over and it was just 2 of them, and they just battled us, and I guess they kept going to all these schools to battle everybody, and so they battled us, and we like smoked them, and they're like, oh, hey, you want to hang out? And then they just started inviting us to sessions, which were like in downtown Sac, at this place called the Washington Center, which is like the freaking hoodest place ever. I mean, and it was like falling apart, but they had this little this like rec room area in the back that was, they let us break in. I think it was just a storage room now that I think about it, because there was like freaking boxes all over the place, and the room was dirty AF. And anyway, so like every time we braked, we would clean the floor because it was like hell dirty. I mean, like if you touched the ground, your hand was like black. And so I think they liked us being there because we would clean the floor before we practiced. Wow. But anyways, so like I remember going there. And then just hanging out with those people. That's how I met Swells. Okay. And I don't know if you remember Freak Rock.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys. And so we would always train together. This was when I was in high school, probably like sophomore in high school. And then they just started telling us about different jams and stuff. So we would just go. And I think the first jam I went to was Floor Tactics. It was in Sacramento. I don't know if you remember that one.
Probably, actually.
It was a Flex Flav jam.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. But if it's like somewhere along 05 or after.
It was. This was 2001.
Oh, damn.
No, wait. Yeah, probably 2001, I think.
Yeah, that's before me.
Okay. I like barely braked at that point. But yeah, Machine versus Miracles was like a big hot exhibition battle there. That was right when both of them were starting to blow up. But anyways, that was the first one I ever saw, and that was really cool. But just like, seeing like a real air flare in person, you're like, oh, dang. And actually, Cujo was at that jam. Cujo, it was a 3-on-3. Cujo, Robzilla, and Stuntman entered together, and that was the first time I seen any of them. And yeah, I remember seeing Cujo, and he did his I don't know what he calls it, but it's like the planche one where he like walks in a circle.
Merry-go-rounds.
It's a Mario. Yeah, but it was like the really low Mario go-go-round.
Yeah.
And it was really slow too. And I was like, oh my God, I just entered the Matrix. Like I seriously was like, dude, what just happened? This is like the craziest thing ever. Yeah. And then it was the same jam that Robzilla did this super crazy move where he went on his elbow and he just kind of walks in a circle and then he jumps up and just does like, it looks like a head spin, but he's on his elbow tip and he just drills it. He did like 2 or 3 spins and that crap blew my mind. And then I was like, oh, I gotta like practice. And I think it was Ronnie, Little Rock, and Ben that entered the jam and won. And I think they beat them in the Cujo's team in the finals, from what I remember. But it was a crazy jam.
By the time I kind of like roll around, everybody was like, had some sort of crazy stuff, like crazy power. And then at the local practice at the Y, the people running the practice, they were pretty good too. It was Richard and Jimmy. And Jimmy was the first time I saw like legit air flares and really good air flares, elbow air flares. And he has like all sorts of flips. And I was like, damn. And I learned a lot from him. I learned my halos. I learned my elbow air flares and air flares from this guy. And yeah, after that, I just learned more about practice spots and just go to all of them.
Yeah, okay.
In Palo Alto, San Jose, East Side San Jose. And that's when I started seeing more of the San Jose people, or like Hybrid and Headhunters and all the other B-boys in San Jose. Although I came in after Hank Lopez, I think right when Hank Lopez closed is really when I started coming out.
Okay.
And then, Hybrid saw me at a lot more practices. And that's when we started to click. And back then, Hybrid was also like coming up. And they were the guys I looked up to back then too. And then I guess the one thing that really stood out to me back in high school of breaking was this dance competition in Santa Clara. So there's a teen center in Santa Clara, and they had like a random dance competition in the middle of a dance. So I don't know how I even ended up there, but I guess through the word of mouth, I just come out to all the dance things. And then I was like, I'm out there. And then there was a competition. I was like, all right, I'll just enter it. And it's not strictly a B-boy competition. It was like just a dance competition, and the crowd was just the judge.
Okay.
And then with the MC who's like facilitating it.
Okay.
And I was and I made it to the semis on that one, and it made a huge impact on me because on all the other jams I went to or battled in, as a kid back then, I couldn't even do anything. I couldn't even make past prelims, so I got nothing out of it, and I didn't understand too much about battling back then. So this, like, having extra experience of just like working the crowd and responding to the other person more. That really gave me a lot more motivation, a lot more experience, and that was actually what inspired me to really do Cypher Cup, which is one of my favorite jams to throw.
Yeah. Did you start Cypher Cup, or was that Swahili? Or?
No, it was me. All the hybrid jams was really like me. Big payback, paying dues, all of that. It was because I started after I got into college. My ex at the time pushed me to teach dancing instead of working at like Jamba Juice or, and so because I started teaching at the YMCA at 2 other dance studios, I have access to these spaces.
Okay.
And since I had access to these spaces, and Evade came back, one of my crewmates. Like one of my big inspiration in the crew. He flew back from New York, and he was in town. And I was like, and I think he moved back at that time. And I was like, we got to do something to get the whole crew together. Yeah. And Drift was a DJ at the time too. Yeah. So I was like, I have all the ingredients for a jam. The DJ and A-Game was an MC back then too. So I was like, I got an MC. We got legit judges that people kind of like respect. We kind of have a name in the Bay for a little bit that people can be like, all right, they know us. Yeah. And if we throw a jam, then people will come through. Yeah. So the first jam was actually Paying Dues in 06, 07.
Yeah, you guys have been doing it for a while.
Yeah, at the Y. But originally, I wanted to have a jam just for the kids, the high school kids.
Okay.
But then when I proposed a jam to the crew, they wanted more. They wanted it bigger. So they want to be like, oh, let's make it 2v2 with like a $500 cash prize. Back then it was like, yeah, 500. How can we come up with 500 bucks? But we went to, so Evade taught us how to raise money doing street shows, the New York style.
Oh, yeah.
Back then we thought street shows is just, you just cipher and then had a hat out and then maybe hope for like $1.
No, you need a guy that's like on the microphone telling jokes and stuff. And
So Evade taught us all of that, and we went to Monterey. And 4th of July. It was a 4th of July weekend. We made $500 in like less than an hour.
Yeah.
But then we got kicked out. Because of the cops. That was the only time that we really like. No, I think we did another street show too, downtown San Jose. Okay. And that was just enough to cover all our costs.
That's tight. That's a tight hustle.
Yeah. So we never came out negative. We were able to fund it. Yeah. And then when it's like crew run, then we made it happen. So that was the big, just bringing the whole crew together it was really fun.
Yeah, that's tight. I mean, that's a really good story. Yeah. Just because I've done some street shows where we were like, it wasn't to like raise money for like a jam or anything. It was just like, oh, dude, I just need to get some money to eat or something. So we would like go do some shows. But yeah, it was like when you would go somewhere where there's like a lot of people, like in Sacramento, actually, it was like in old Sacramento where there's like all these old town buildings and stuff. It's like a hot place for visitors to come, and they'd always do this jazz festival. So we would go out there, and we were like in high school and we don't know what the heck we're doing. We would just cipher, but we would make a lot of money. And so we were like, oh, hell yeah. And then we just bounce and then like stuff. But you had to be careful because there's people that would rob you once in a while. Like we got robbed a couple times actually.
But you guys had a crew though.
We had a crew, but yeah. So
did they have like at gunpoint or?
Well, so the one that I remember, we were just breaking in this one part. We had like a hat down. People were putting money in. And then this one dude, he just comes up. He looked like he was drunk or something. And he's just like dancing. And then he just grabs the money in the hat and then just starts walking off. And we're like, what the hell? And we just start chasing this dude. And then right when we run around the corner, we see his whole crew of people. And they're all like older than us, like 25 or something probably. And so he's got like probably 5 dudes with him around the corner. And we probably had 5 people, I think, at that time. Yeah. We run around the corner and we see that. And then the dude just like lifts up his shirt and he has a gun there. And we're like, oh, and we just bounced. Cause it was only, at that point, there was only like maybe $100 in there. And we're like, dang, dude, it's not worth this. Yeah. So we just bounced. But yeah, I mean, that happened once. There was another time where a dude just like grabbed it and ran, and we didn't know where he went. It was like dark at that time. But yeah, so you gotta be careful with that stuff. But
yeah, those definitely didn't happen to us. Because where we were in Monterey and even like downtown San Jose, it wasn't like that bad. It was just like Monterey was just like tourist attraction, and same with downtown's more like chill. And we had a pretty good squad, and with Evade, no one would fuck with someone like that.
Evade is he's like the nicest guy, but he's like freaking Debo muscles.
He has the intimidation factor, like the look to him.
Yeah, I remember a lot of jams. I forget which jam it was. I think I won it actually. It was in San Jose, but I remember he was gonna fight somebody, and he was just like this, and like he had. I just remember like 5 people just holding him back, and he's just like walking forward, just pulling them. And I was like, oh shit, it's about to go down. It was crazy.
I know that jam. It was a jam in San Jose. It was one of Bobby V's jam.
Yeah, I think so.
And then who was it? I think it might be someone's talking shit to his, so I think Fernando or Ralph, which is like one out of homies.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was his brother. But yeah, it was just like getting heated, and then I was way in the back in the gym watching the battle, and then he was about to get in, and was yelling, and then he was going in. Yeah, people were holding him back from like fighting.
It just looked like the Hulk, and then like someone would grab him and hold him back, and he's just like, and then he like gets a little more green, and then more people grab him, and he gets a little more green, and he's just growing and walking. And I'm like, oh crap, it's about to go down.
Yeah, he was literally moving a whole crowd with him.
The whole crowd,
because the whole crowd was trying to hold him back, but it was just moving towards the other guy.
Yeah, I remember that.
No, I think it might be someone. It might be Freak Rock, or I don't know, someone who was like talking something.
I don't think it was Freak Rock because he wasn't there. Because if he was there, he would have entered with me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was me, my brother, and Chai Swells. We entered. I don't remember if we won or got. I think we did really good though. We at least got to the finals, I think. But I remember that was like a cipher battle that was happening, and then it was just like Evade is just pulling
it was an actual battle.
Was it? Oh, maybe it was.
Well, Evade was not in that battle though. He was.
Oh, okay. Maybe
he was just he was just trying to hold it down for the homies. Yeah. And he was just not taking.
He had all of San Jose just holding him back, and he's like, "Nope, I'm Evade. Don't you know who I am?" It was like the Juggernaut, just. And then I think I remember talking to him afterwards, and he's just like, "Oh man, I was just mad, whatever." And he's like hella nice after that.
He's super nice guy.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy.
But when he's riled up, he's like riled up.
Yeah,
no. That's Evade for you.
Yeah, no, Evade is dope. So I guess so. Let's talk a little bit more about like Cypher Cup and like how like what. Because you started it as like this thing to get younger people more involved in the scene and stuff, and it's kind of grown a lot. And now you do it kind of as a yearly event that, like, I mean, it seems like it's one of the bigger events nowadays, at least in the like Northern California area. How do you feel about that, and what are you trying to build with that? And
I guess when it was like 2007 on, like I could feel the scene kind of like the Bay Area scene was not what it used to be.
It used to be a jam every weekend.
Yeah,
and now it's not like.
And then all the heavy hitters would be there. People would fly out for Bay Area.
Yeah. I think it's because every city had a big crew that just rolled through. You had Renegades, you had Headhunters, you had Hybrid, you had. Rock Force, you had Flex, you had DSD1, like, so there's like every area had this like representative crew that's just coming through and just wrecking it. And there was, I think, more of a city kind of thing, where it's like, oh, it's like San Jose versus San Francisco today. Let's see what happens,
Yeah, and everybody's good from their own respective areas. In their own way. It was amazing back then.
Yeah, it's different now because I don't think it's like such a city by city kind of thing. Yeah, I guess there's less. What would you call it? Less of a segregated community, and they're more like together now. So it's kind of like the whole Bay Area scene is like like one, which is cool too. But you don't have that rivalry, I think, that you used to back in the day.
Yeah, and you don't have that like tight kind of kinship where you have your crew and you kind of like stick with your crew.
Yeah, crews have disappeared, I think, largely.
Yeah, I think like the transition was probably when people were growing up and then they were trying to make something happen. Yeah. Usually from where we are in NorCal, people would try to make it down here in Hollywood, trying to trying to take that next step in dance. Or whatever they could make of themselves. Yeah. And so that includes a lot of like the big names, a lot of people that I look up to. They look to Hollywood for the next thing. Yeah. So that kind of left a gap in the scene, I feel, that whole LA thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It wouldn't be good for them to hold animosity towards each other because they would lose work. Basically.
Yeah, and the more we go to jams, the more we see each other. It's like, okay, we start to understand. Okay, we're all like in the same community now. Yeah. And so like I think it was Cypher Cup really came out because It was just because of the impact I knew it had on the kids, and I knew how many kids that were like learning breaking in high school. Because when I taught dance, like this, it was way bigger than how it was for me in high school too. At least when I was teaching at my high school in Libbrook, they had like up to like 30, 40 kids in the B-Boy club.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing. And I knew something needs to happen with these kids. Going back to my original like kind of hunch about making a small jam just for these smaller kids who never had a chance on a real jam. And yeah, that blew up. There was so much energy. So it started in 2009. And I knew some B-boys within the scene, the older B-boys within the scene would say, oh yeah, our scene kind of died. No, what happened to the crowd? The crowd is dead, blah, blah, blah. But then I was like, no, have you come to Cypher Cup? Have you seen how hyped these kids are?
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't even matter what level these guys are at.
Yeah, they're just hype.
Exactly, because they're like, they have the energy. You know, when you're young and you're learning something new and people like throwing themselves into moves, it just brings it back. You just got to hit it like the right way with the right group of people and present it like kind of like in a fresh way, which I try to keep it small. I don't believe in big venues, which is why like I try to avoid like having jams at gyms.
Like a gym,
because a jam is a social thing, you know. And I need to make people rub shoulders.
Okay, yeah.
Because you kind of like so that they can actually have a space to interact. Yeah. Because if you have too much of a space, it depends. If you have a big jam, if you can fill up a gym, do that. But my jams don't really fill up that much. So so my jams don't bring that many people. So I like it smaller. And that worked really well because, you know, you have ciphers going on. Because if you have too much dead space, ciphers are kind of weird.
Yeah, they do look kind of weird because you have like a circle here and a circle like...
It's like a practice spot.
Yeah, it is a practice spot, yeah.
So I don't want a practice spot. I want like a
you
space.
want some drama a little bit.
Exactly. So that's why my first event was at like a small dance studio just for the kids. And then we had an idea of doing a Shark Tank. This was This was before Cypher prelims was a thing, and but where the reason why I brought that in was because by the time it was like 07, 08, 09, the ciphers were kind of dead. Like people were more practicing in their own circles than having real ciphers, and that's when the idea actually came from Drift. At one of his jams, we saw outside the venue, there's like a weird cage. I guess it was like a small little patch of grass, like the size of a cipher. Yeah. That's like fenced off for some reason. And we're like, why is this patch of grass fenced off?
It's some special grass.
And then Drift was like, that's the Shark Tank. You gotta throw yourself in there in a cipher and you can't get out.
Yeah,
that's the Shark
it's
Tank.
Like the octagon, basically. Throw them in the octagon and see what happens.
So with that idea, and I want to bring back the ciphers and the whole like energy back. So that's why I was like, all right, the concept is lock the doors for 30 minutes.
And just go.
And you have 30 minutes and you have secret judges to pick top 4 people. Yeah. And just go. And then at the end, the top 4 is a 4-way battle, no rules, time limit, go at it. That would be the finals. And that brought back the ciphers.
That's tight.
At one point, and I moved to a bigger venue, to the Santa Clara Teen Center, and we had like 9, 10 ciphers.
Yeah, that's tight.
Yeah.
We at some of the jams that my brother would always do, Cream, and he did a bunch of other ones, but like, so for prelims, it always gets like really boring when you're doing like showcase battles. So we were like, man, screw that. Let's just do something crazy. And so he had this idea to just call up like 10 people or like 15 people, and he would just call it like the Cipher of Death. And he's just like, all right, we're just going to go for like 20 minutes. And just, we're only going to pick like 2 people from this Cipher of Death. And then it's just chaos because it's like, you can basically take as many rounds as you want or as little rounds as you want. And so you'd see people just like going, I gotta do it. And they're like doing like 20 rounds or whatever. And some people are like, no, it's my turn to do it. And it's just freaking chaos. And we had to like slow it down a little bit and make some rules for it because people would start like really like fighting and stuff. But that crap was crazy. And so we would do probably like 3 different ciphers of death every jam. And so it was like insane.
That's also part of the reason why I kind of stopped Shark Tank was because, it wasn't fun anymore.
It gets crazy.
Yeah. People just hog the floor. Like there was no etiquette for the circle.
Goes away,
Yeah. When, back, I had the Shark Tank. It was, because Cypher Cup was for the kids. The main competition is for the kids.
Yeah.
And I still want to bring in the rest of the scene. So I was like, all right, let's make it like a Cypher thing, which is the Shark Tank for everybody else. And so the older guys know, like, not to step in, kind of like a little bit more respect.
Yeah.
And that's why it kind of worked. And you have that energy. But then as time goes on, it was like no etiquette. It was like, oh, like, look at me. I got to throw down. It's like, I have a lot to prove. I need to hog the floor space and not let anyone do anything. Or like, it was so bad. That's why now when I see kind of prelims, Cypher prelims, it just not what I want to do.
Because it is chaos.
Yeah. And for me personally, if I want to enter an event, like I don't even want to do a Cypher prelim because I'm not that way of like, I don't want to push people out of the way to prove myself. So.
I think it's fun to watch, but it's not fun to be part of. And if there wasn't a competition involved with it, I'm like, okay, cool. But
yeah, pretty much. Now I guess I brought it up to the level. So I learned a lot from living in Korea. Working with R16 about like the next level of production value in events. So I see the potential of how like B-Boy jams could be. And then I took that into Cypher Cup where people kind of grew up a bit and then I lost that connection with the high school kids now. So that's why Cypher Cup is more like for everybody. And I decided to kind of take what I learned and make it the jam better and bigger. And luckily, I was practicing at this gym in San Jose. It's called Bay Area Movement. Now they're called Sessions Gym. And they were just opened up this parkour gym. It's amazing. Parkour, free running. They had like all sorts of structures.
That's the one that you do Cypher Cup at now? Yeah, okay, I've seen it,
And it was like they're new and they're like trying to come up. They're trying to find different ways to like fill up the space. And then so I was like, I'm interested in throwing a jam. And they're like, bring them in. Then they love the idea of having a B-Boy competition in there. Actually, the other part of what got me to start throwing Cypher Cup again, it was my crewmate, the new crewmates in hybrid, Louis, Rahul, and Dranil. They're the ones who like are hungry, and it was Louis that wanted to throw a jam. Like he was gonna do a random like just start a new jam. Be like, I want to just throw any jam. I'm like, why don't you just pick up Cypher Cup? People know about it. And just let's keep growing. And that's what brought me back in. And and the space was amazing. Like it's a warehouse with like, the half pipe going on.
It looks like a skate park, but you can't skate in it. It's like it's like a padded skate park.
And there's like spring floor.
There's a spring floor.
It's pretty cool because I saw like the people like the power heads or the trickers sessioning on the spring floor. And then the other part of the floor, the concrete floor, like people are like, that's where the jam is. It was amazing. And then I had like RJ, RJ to help out with the lighting and the DJing. And that lighting actually, this is the first time I really utilized like lights because I knew it just adds a lot more to the atmosphere.
It does.
So it turned that gym into more like a space. A totally different space. Once you add some uplights, some spotlights, and then RJ had this really cool spotlight with that can project the logo. The projector.
Oh yeah.
Projects the logo.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna project the Cypher Cup logo on the freaking wall.
Yeah, that's tight. Yeah.
So you can see in the picture, you can see like huge like logo in the back.
Yeah.
Spotlights on the floor, up lights on the side, and that creates a whole vibe.
Yeah, he was our DJ for our wedding, and he brought all his lights and stuff, and so he had all this crazy up lighting and stuff, and it was like it really transformed this place. It's basically like a big room. It's like a barn room. I don't know.
Okay,
but it turned it into like this really nice, like looking elegant shit. So
yeah,
really cool.
And then on top of that, I really want to. So my next like thought about jams, if we want Breaking to grow, is to bring in the more casual spectators.
Yeah.
So I want a jam that I can invite my coworkers to. I want to have a jam that I can invite my family to.
Yeah.
And they actually can have a good time and chill.
What do you think the biggest hump to get over? What is the biggest hump to get over to actually achieve that? Like, what do you think is stopping them from coming?
So, on a normal jam, even my jams before the current Cypher Cups, I wouldn't invite anyone.
Yeah.
So there's a few things. The reason why I don't want to invite them.
Uh-huh.
Number one, jams lag.
Definitely.
Number two, you don't know the time schedule.
Yeah.
On top of that, and number three, it lasts like 6 to 12 hours of it. Like, and then there was very little organization in a normal jam. On top of that, you have to squeeze your way into the circles. There's no way to sit. There's nowhere to really like have a good view of the main battle. So that was what I was addressing was making sure the jams start on time, making sure actually having two different start time for the event. Start time for the competitors, for the prelims, and then the actual doors open for everything else. Yeah, okay. So that if I were to invite someone, I was like, "Oh, come to the when the doors open at like 6 o'clock." Yeah, but the competitors come at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's kind of what like Serge does with his All the Way Live.
Yeah,
he has like the prelims where all the chaos happens like way before, and then he goes, "Okay, come back at like 6 o'clock." And then we're just gonna run through this, and it's like a show at that point.
Exactly.
It's like battle, performance.
That's how all the like jams work in Korea and overseas. It's just like, the real good ones. They have the prelims already run through, and then when people come to spectate, it's just a run of show. Okay. It's like a program, and that's what I did. For my event and try to enforce that, trying to push that into our community to understand this. For a normal jam, and I think people get it now. I see a lot more jams doing it now, and including All the Way Live. And then what was it? The other thing was I made sure I get bleachers for the spectators. The very first time I had a Cypher Cup at the gym, they actually had those the blocks to learn how to flip over it. Yeah, all the soft blocks. Yeah, people were sitting on it, and then I made a little like block where people can sit on it. Yeah, and then I brought out chairs that people can sit and watch. So that added a lot, where you can just like chill and have a good view and more places to sit. And then the next one, I took it to the next level where like, I need to get bleachers. And the crazy thing was, I looked everywhere in NorCal to rent bleachers. Apparently, there's no such thing as bleacher rental in NorCal. The closest thing was in LA.
Oh, seriously?
And that was like, I called them up, and I was like, so how much would it be? Like this LA rental. Like, coming up, probably $8,000, $10,000. And the bleachers were huge too. I was like, no, I can't afford that. So I was like, because they would drive it up to San Jose.
That's crazy.
Too. So the next best thing was
get them blocks. Sit on these blocks, dude.
Well, the next best thing was there's this theatrical rental place in San Jose where they rent out everything from lights to sets to anything theatrical. Yeah. Including choir risers. So I learned about choir risers.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, oh, perfect. And they're like, they are configurable where you can make a half circle. Yeah. Or a straight bleacher, but on the side, like kind of like coming in a little bit to the circle. So, and that was way cheaper. It was like $30-$40 per section. And each section could probably sit like, I would say 30 people, 40 people.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. And I had like 5 of those sections. Tight. And that's why when you check out the photos, you see people like that. Yeah. And it looks so much better.
Makes it look cool.
Yeah. And people actually get to sit and chill.
See it.
And watch. And the energy was so much more hype when you get that. When the spectators come in at like later time, so they have energy, one. And two, I got all the cypher time before that program start. And so there's no kind of like dead time, because cypher break is a dead time for the spectators. Yeah, for sure. So I took that out from top 8. So there's ciphers until top 8. From top 8, there's just all the way through. Yeah. And to have a break between semis and finals, I make sure I have a show. Like a showcase, to make sure the finalists have some break. Yeah, and that helps so much. The year where Vietnam and J-Rock won.
Oh yeah, I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah,
the finals were hype.
It was really hype.
Yeah, and when was the last time we saw like? Silverback finals hype. Freestyle session finals were hype. Yeah. But any local jam, like you don't really see that anymore. By the time it gets to the finals, like everyone's dead. Half the jam left.
I think I remember talking to J-Rock afterwards, and he's like, "Man, that was hype. I don't know why they're cheering for me. I'm old." No, I was like, I thought that was really funny, but it's like,
but it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter if you're old or if you're not that great, but you just. It's just the energy.
Yeah, it was just hype energy.
To be honest, it doesn't really matter the level. It's as long as there's that energy and you're like kind of like on that same level with the other person, and you guys are actually battling. And then you have the crowd behind you, and then you're throwing your stuff and you're feeling the music. Yeah, and the music is good. Yeah, all that was just the ingredients for a good jam.
Exciting, yeah.
So that's why I was like, and then that's the kind of jam that I can invite my normal friends to, outside of breaking, and coworkers. So that was when I finally was able to invite people out, and bring more people in, and that was like my vision for it. And the next step to that is actually having a bar.
Oh, okay.
There's actually a perfect venue in downtown San Jose that has huge space, like smooth concrete floor. There's a bar on the side. There's like standing tables on the side too. Still enough space for like a jam. Yeah, I wanted to have it there, but I talked to the venue owners, and they're like 5 different owners, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna give them the wedding pricing, $8,000."
Oh damn!
I'm like, no, I can't do that. That's way over my budget.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but that would be my next thing to a jam, is to actually have like a bar where normal people can just like chill, watch the battle whenever they want to, and then bigger bleachers, and even my friend suggested maybe could even have assigned seatings, so that when you leave, you can still leave and come back to it, and you can leave to get drinks, you can leave to get food, and you're okay. And one of the Cypher Cups, one of the complaints were it was really hot, and it was in the summer. One of them was in the summer. And we were at capacity. The first time we were at capacity. So if you're out, there's no guarantee of going in. So people had to like stay in, and they can't leave the bleachers. You know, if they leave, there's just risk of losing that seat. So that would be the next level for me, for a better jam. As well as bringing in different acts, different shows. It could be different types of performances. I really believe in exposing the scene into like more different types of talent outside of breaking. And that's why I have like the lockers come in. That's why I have the trickers come in. That's why I have like I wanted to have a whole drum line come in.
Oh, that's
to
tight.
Perform. So I've seen a drum line perform, and it's crazy.
Did you ever have a battle to a drum line?
Yo, yeah, that would be dope. Yeah, I actually, one of the big payback, I had a drummer. Actually, no, even the Cypher Cup, one of the Cypher Cup, I brought out a drummer. And that added a lot more energy to it too. And the funny story is, one of the big payback, luckily I had the drummer. I just had the idea, we got to just have like a live drummer. Yeah. And it was that jam that it was too hot for the DJ equipment, and the DJ equipment kind of like blew out.
Oh dang!
But we have a drummer, so it blew out in the middle of battles. But the drummer kept drumming, and so the battle kept going.
Oh yeah, that's tight.
And then later on, like we have friends that came in with like the bass line, and then we had a bass going to fill in when Drift was trying to figure out like
what was going on.
Yeah, and then when the DJ can get back on, they can rest, and then it would cut out again, and then they would jump back on.
Yeah, I always like it when there's like a live band playing with a DJ because it feels more just like live, you know, because I mean obviously like a DJ has a big job of like getting the crowd there, but it's like it's so different when there's like a live drummer just do because people are like, oh dude, this guy is going off. Like I don't know, it really feels like a concert almost.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a real good raw energy that's totally different. That will bring a lot to a jam.
Yeah. So do you see that happening with jams now? Like, do you think the progression of becoming more spectator friendly is like where the scene is trying to go?
Probably not, because it takes a lot to put in. You kind of have to really invest a lot more time and money and resources into pushing a more like legitimate production, bringing up the production value of an event, and because breaking doesn't really appeal to like a wider audience by itself, especially b-boy comps, b-boy competitions. Like I think it's just drawn out way too long, and then because of our tradition of a jam that lags, it's a jam for the dancers.
It lags because you're trying to still like have it be like a party almost.
Yeah.
So, but if you aren't there for the party, you're just like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Like, I just want to see some crazy battles.
Exactly. Yeah. It's also that party vibe, where, it's gonna be that way until we had like I think Silverback was like the only thing that was close to it. That was really huge, and it was able to fly people in, have the lighting really amazing.
Yeah, they had
the
good
bleachers.
production.
Yep, have the bleachers, live stream, all that.
And they did it, and I know they did it in chunks too, where it's like, okay, here's the prelims, and it's going to be chaos now. You're going to have your cypher time. Now, at this time, exactly, people are coming in the door to come watch it, and we're just going to start it, boom, 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 this is the show, do. And then, they still run it like a jam, but it's like one after the other. There's no lag time anymore. You're done. I mean, if you can still go, cypher over there, away from these battles, because the music is still going on, but the highlight now is right here with the battles and stuff.
But yeah, in terms of like bigger jams, I don't see that. Like right now, it's just a lot more crew anniversaries, and they just want to like party, which is cool. Yeah, it's fine. But I don't think we're in the mindset of like trying to grow on the event side. And I'm not sure actually how breaking is now with like the kids. So, and I know there's more like the other dances that's more popular. Like I don't know, just like
the floss.
Choreo is huge. So the breaking, I don't think it's kind of like there's a ceiling for breaking events right now.
I kind of look at it like events started. I mean, they were always put on by members of the community. And so like when the scene was much smaller back in like, late 90s or whatever, when events started popping off, you just had say you had a group of 100 different people that actually braked around that area, and like 2 guys were actually throwing competitions. They only know what they know about it. And now that it's bigger, now that there's like, say like 1,000 people in it, you got 2 for every 100 now. So you got, a whole lot more people that are trying to throw these events. So you got a lot more knowledge of event planning coming in. And so as Breakin evolves and like as those guys who first started it learn more and start teaching the younger guys how to throw events, I think you're going to progressively get better and better and better through each generation. That's what it looks like to me, at least.
Yeah, I try to help out the guys whenever possible back home, whenever they needed it, in terms of event production, because I have lights and everything. I could just like let them borrow to just make it better. Especially like, floodlights, they're just like $20, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of jams don't really do this, but I think now, well, at least in the Bay Area. And I always know that I'm just going to pack it in my car just in case.
Okay.
Especially when I'm covering for filming.
Yeah.
When I film an event, I was like, 9 times out of 10, probably 99 times out of 100, the event lighting is going to be horrible.
It's going to be trash. Yeah.
It's going to look bad. And I was like, I'll need to bring my floodlights for sure to make this look right. And like certain jams I cover. Look, I was glad I did. And even the photographer is glad I did. I brought the lights. And that just adds so much more to it. And it could be little things like that. And then and I tried to teach when I was like throwing one of the Cypher Cups. There were actually some kids are interested in learning. So I was actually build up a whole like deck, kind of like walk them through it. Why, like not only what I'm doing, but why am I doing these things?
Yeah.
So a jam exists not just because it exists. I want it to exist for a reason. And for me, jam exists because it's filling in kind of like a space that it needs, that the scene needs. For example, I wouldn't just throw a random like Shark Tank. I threw Shark Tank because I thought the scene needed more ciphers, like real ciphers. And then when the cipher prelim got way too crazy, it's like, oh, the scene doesn't need it anymore. So I was just like, stop doing it. And then whenever I throw jams, I think about this, like, what would the scene kind of need? Does it need like another 2v2 or 1v1? What makes sense right now? And I don't want to add to the noise. That's the thing. I want to kind of like, it's easy. It's easy to add to the noise. But I want to kind of like figure out where something's missing and kind of fill in that gap.
Fill in the gap. Direct the noise to where you want it to be.
So like there was one year where I kind of skipped Cypher Cup because I felt that there was too many jams going on.
Okay.
I only brought it back because I felt like it needs an event.
Are you gonna do one this year?
This year, I'm not sure. Actually, it's because I have other projects that's like really taking up my time.
Okay.
If I have people in like San Jose who really could help, like who's really hungry for an event, I would definitely hop on. But I can't just do it on my own now.
Okay. Tell Raul to do it.
I told him.
Raul, do it. I know you're not watching, but do it.
He's down.
He's starting to throw events and stuff. I think the last one he did was pretty good. I forget the name of it, but I think it went pretty well.
Mezcla.
The one.
No, that was really good. It had like a theater. I brought the lights to make sure it's like looking nice. It looked amazing. It had the seating and everything too. So, and I definitely saw like half the crowd was like more spectators than like
B-boys. There was a lot.
And he was able to get people to fly out. We were working with Shonsky, another B-boy who's like really into power.
He
loves power.
He has like a power teddy bear. He like sleeps like.
He still has the helmet. Remember when we used to carry helmets and who's a B-boy?
Oh yeah. It has like the scratches on the top, and you're like, dude, that guy does not skateboard. He is a B-boy.
He's probably the last like dying breed of those.
And he has the old school helmet too, like not the one, because like the old school ones were like bad as helmets because they were too stiff and they would crack and break when you actually like got broke off. And so ProTech like remade the helmets with like a more like flexible kind of material so that the helmet wouldn't break.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a defective helmet from back in the day, and so he has those. Those were really good because they were stiff and you could like spin better. But
yeah, and I don't see that anymore. I remember used to like, oh, you know, he's a b-boy with like a little helmet strapped on the side.
Yep.
And I was there too. And then he's still at it. And then he was so into it. He came up to me one time. Was like, yo, I want to throw a power competition.
Yeah.
But I have no pull. I was like, and he was like, can we try to do that for Cypher Cup? And I was like, you know what? At first I was like, how many power heads would this like make it worth it?
Yeah.
Like to make a comp out of it in tally.
Yeah.
Know? But then I was like, you know what? Cypher Cup has never been about high level or anything. It's really about energy. So I was like saying, are there enough guys who can just have like that same energy that can like bring it?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if they're like crazy good or not. And I was like, you know what? I think so. And then he was able to list out guys that he wanted to bring out.
Tight.
And actually, it turned out to be one of the hypest part of last year's Cypher Cup. And then, he started going crazy with it now. Going to different jams, organizing different power battles. Bringing out people. And I was able to help bring out this kid from Denver. His name is Angel.
Oh, yeah, that kid is crazy.
Dude, yeah. I first met him at Silverback in 2017. I was like, damn, who's this kid? Like, I thought he was like some big name that I never knew about. Yeah. But no one knew about him. And I was like, yo, you need to like get out, like compete everywhere now. And I was able to bring him out, and I'm so glad I did. And everybody just loved him.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's crazy. He looks like he can actually fly.
Oh, the air that he gets,
it's crazy.
Yeah. Maybe it's like
he has some cheat codes on or something. It's like, come on, dude. Like, let me get that cheat code real quick.
It's the mile high cheat code.
Yeah, for real. It's like, damn, dude. So, okay, one thing you mentioned was filming, because you are involved with Stance, which is, I would say, probably the biggest or one of the biggest YouTube channels that puts out battles now internationally. You guys go out there and film all these things. How did you get involved with it, and like what's your guys' like vision with that, and how's it going?
So when I moved to Korea, I started filming for Strife TV because my girl at the time was part of Strife, and so I knew in college I learned how to like film and all that. So I was like, I can hop on and film some battles and all that. And so I started filming R16, jams in Taiwan, jams in China. And so we grew, and it was Daniel Zhu that was like really brought Strife to where it was. Yeah. So everyone really thinks that it was Daniel Zhu who's like the founder of Strife, but it's actually the original founders. They were b-boys, but they kind of like moved on in the Hollywood scene. Moving on to different things, different projects.
Yeah, okay.
And so when we want to just keep pushing it, we decided to do our own thing.
Do your own thing.
Because ultimately Strife is not ours. Yeah. And so we're like, you know what? We need to start something that's our own. Yeah. Something that, the founders would still be active in the scene, that it's documenting. So that's why, and it's kind of hard because it was 2014 when Strife had like 100,000 subscribers back then. And then we had to go back to 0. Yeah. But the thing was,
if you put the content out there, people find it.
The other difference though is I believed in this new project, which became Stance, was because it was Daniel Zhu. He was the one that took Strife to where it was, and then along the way he created all these connections. So, and he's just like embedded into the scene at that point. And so I was like, if anything, it would work out. And so, it was me, Daniel Zhu, Miss Lee, Anderson, and Chaz from the UK, Doy. Those guys, we're like the guys the main videographers back then. Yeah. That started Strife. Sorry, Stance. And then with the help of Cross, with the help of Ivan. Ivan was Ivan and Remind. It was Ivan that helped us really get our name, Stance Elements. So
he gave that name to you guys?
He helped us come up with the name.
Oh, that's
we
tight.
were kind of like throwing names around. And then Ivan was like, "Yo, I like this. I like Stance, like the B-boy Stance." Blah, blah, blah.
That's yeah. Ivan is crazy.
Stance everything. Yeah. So, it was actually when Daniel Zhu, Cross, Ivan, they were all in Vegas, like throwing around names.
Yeah.
And then I was like, kind of like in the chat too, putting it all together. And yeah, so we started from there. Started from zero, but Daniel had a lot of content lined up.
Yeah.
You know, he films like 24/7. This guy films and edit 24/7.
But there's not jams going on 24/7. What else?
The thing is
filming
the backlog
okay.
of all the things. You know, it's easy to film, but it's another thing to finish your edits. It's another thing to put it out.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like
I thought you were gonna say he has some OnlyFans thing.
No, but yeah, I remember there were other videographers from before our time.
Yeah.
They had like secret footage, but they weren't able to put it out because it's just so much. Like it's easy to film, but to process them, to cut them up, to edit
it's a lot. It's a big process.
Yeah. So there's still like old school footage that we never even seen that it's like in the archives because of the last part. It's editing is kind of rough. But anyways, the thing is, Daniel Zhu, he's a big fan of the dance. He loves the dance, and so he documents it. And for me, no, I love the dance, but in a way that I want to be part of. I want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not the person to kind of like document it all the time.
Yeah.
I just want to be dancing instead of filming it. But he's on the other side where like he loves to just like he's like fanboy of like all
that's tight
parts of the dance.
Yeah.
And he loves the certain crews, he loves certain dancers. He loves following up with them. He makes friends with everybody. Yeah. And that was like, no.
The scene needs someone to document because it's like, if we're not documenting it, like I look at it like this breaking is very young. Hip hop is very young in terms of like other cultures and stuff. And 100 years from now, it's still going to be around. And you look at it now, we are in the infancy of it. And so if we're not documenting it, people 100 years from now are going to be like, dude, what was it like when breaking was only like, at this point, 50 years old, right? Yeah. What was it like then? Dude, I don't know. There's nothing that exists really. And definitely like before YouTube, like what the heck? That's not even that long ago, but where's the footage at? I don't know. I mean, like I got some random VHS tapes, but it's like a lot of that stuff is lost, I think.
Yeah, and especially, I feel like, before YouTube, a lot of
it's word of mouth, really.
It's really whose rep survived the times.
Yes, for sure. No, like that's actually why I really started this podcast is because I want to like get those stories out there and like have it documented somewhere. And so like I've been trying to reach out to a lot of OGs and stuff, and definitely guys that haven't had their story told a lot. Like I just had Ace on, Ace from Master Movements. He taught like Cujo and stuff, and Rob Zilla. Had him on recently, had a big conversation with him. But anyways, like getting those people on, I think is really important to just document what's going on.
Oh yeah, and you know, this kind of work, there is no money in breaking. And the breaking scene, you know, it's a lot of egos, a lot of drama, a lot of things you have to kind of go through in terms, even today's media, like internet media. It's just, you really have to do it for the love. And to really stick for this long. And right now, we're coming up with like, each of us probably over 10 years of documenting the scene. And it's just,
and you've been breaking for probably like almost 20, right? 18, 19, 20. That's like how much I think I've been breaking 18 years. I think
almost 15, like at least 15 for sure.
Okay.
But it's a lot of the people, like I think people kind of like see Stance like, oh, we're so big. There must be rolling in dough or whatever. But really, breaking, it's not quite there to really sustain ourselves. Like all of us at Stance, we are doing this as a side. Like right now I'm like a software engineer on the side to support what I want to do. And then everybody else is the same. They have another job to help sustain them. But we are working on really trying to grow and be able to hire ourselves full time. So we're working on that.
Do you think it's gonna get there?
Actually, we might because there are an increased interest in breaking and like hip hop and movement and like. And as Stance, we're not just hip hop. We kind of want to make that clear. We're not only hip hop. We are. It's pretty much we're a group of friends who document things that we think are super cool. Including tricking. Tricking's not really hip hop. So, but it's like we're also in that community as well, and also all the other things that we think are cool. Like that's what you see on the channel. Like, although I would say probably all of us are b-boys on the team. That's why you see all b-boy footage. But if we did have like someone who's like a popper, then we would love to feature more like popping footage. If you have someone who's like more like maybe a shuffler, we would love to have someone who can help get that part of into Stance. So pretty much that's the vision. We don't really have a vision right now. It's just really whatever we think is cool, we'll just we put out, because in the end of the day, like we want to do something that really excites us. That's why we don't really have like a coherent like vision. It's like, oh, we want to be the best at this, or we want to do that, or it just comes down to we're a group of friends. But this year we are going to try to tighten that up a little bit, because as we take on bigger gigs, we need to be a little bit more organized. So we're working on that and be able to expand and go beyond just like a group of friends, I guess, because our channel has grown by a lot this past since 2014 on all channels. Like we really bank on Facebook, so our Facebook page is pretty big, Instagram, and now we just started TikTok.
Oh, you guys got a TikTok too?
Yeah.
Dude, TikTok is weird as hell. I don't understand. I mean, I don't have a TikTok or anything, but like everything I see on TikTok is like weird. I don't understand.
Well, now a lot of the viral stuff or the funny content comes from TikTok.
Yeah. So it reminds me of like maybe Vine, but kind of different.
It's pretty much like Vine, but I think before TikTok merged with Musical.ly, and before I think they merged the idea of putting music on top of your videos in different ways, in different and creative ways. And then when they merged into TikTok, that even pushed it even more. So there's a lot of creative content on there. And I'll have to admit, I spend a lot of time on there. Just
really?
Yep. Because there's so many like funny stuff. There's funny skits. They're like really good dancers on there too. Really good music producers on TikTok that create like amazing music, creative content on there. I was mind blown by the things that are on there. And then it's a different way of creating content, because the app itself is really unique in the way that how you can record, add effects, dub music over. It's really cool platform, I would say.
I'm like so confused about social media. About like 5 or 6 years ago, I was just like, oh, I gotta stop using this stuff. It's like, it seemed like an addiction. And actually I read a bunch of stuff where they're comparing it to a gambling addiction. I was like, okay, I gotta just stop this before it gets like crazy. Not that I was addicted to it or anything, but it was just like I could see it happening, so I just kind of stopped a lot of it. I still use Facebook once in a while because like my whole family is there and it's easy to communicate with them, and a lot of people are there. So
social media, no, it's true. There is a downside to
I just don't understand it anymore.
My take on it is like, with the internet, there's the pros and cons. The pros is we have access to so much information, and we have a bigger platform to express ourselves in. Yeah. So it's just different ways of expressing ourselves in more ways. On the other side of it is if you get trapped into, there's so many things coming at you, and you don't even know what's real and what's not. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have that real filter, or you don't have that real like compass of like, you know what, this is not real life. This guy is just he makes it seem better than it actually really like is or whatever. You kind of have to kind of know about that. If not, it could. That's why I feel like there's a higher rate of depression, and there's like higher rate of suicides because of how much we are exposed and how much we have access to. Yeah, and the kind of voices that are on the internet, like that are amplified. So there are good and bad voices that's now being like out there,
amplified. Yep. Yeah. Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. So think of that. That's why I feel like growing up nowadays as like a kid, it's a lot to deal with.
It's definitely different than when I was a kid, because it was like, when I was 12 years old or whatever, it's like I couldn't go on TikTok and be like, I'm going to make a video and then everybody's going to dislike it. I'm going to feel like shit. It's more like my mom would be like, go outside and dig a hole. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go dig a hole.
Yeah. Now, how, back then, like, we have a social life that we kind of have to deal with. Yeah. But now it includes social media. That's part of your social life.
Yeah.
So it's, I feel like it's a bit much especially if you don't know what's good or like what would be healthy for you or what's not.
I guess that's good that I don't use social media that much then.
Yeah.
I think I never cared what people thought, so I was like, whatever.
I was able to kind of filter out like so I'm all about good energy versus like whenever I see something that's like along the lines of like, oh, it's not something I would want to have around me, I would block it off, or like I would filter that out. And then so now I have just like, and within social media you can create your own echo chamber what you want to see. So you can create your own bubble. So I kind of created that, and I'm like, it's my bubble would be funny dance skits, funny dance videos, music production, and
I could see myself if I was like all on social media being like a freaking internet troll, just trolling people.
Yep,
because that would be fun. But
there are a lot of people like that.
Yep. So we're hitting an hour and 15 minutes at this point.
Okay.
But and we should probably wrap up soon. But I wanted to talk to you about music production before we close out, because I know that you started producing music. When did you do that?
It's a year now.
Okay, yeah.
So it's recent. It's something that's new. Music has always been really intimidating for me. Mm-hmm. Even back then when someone was showing me how to spin on vinyl, it's just like, it's a bit much. And then like the collection of music is just like so vast. It's like an ocean that you can just dive in the deep end. So that was just like way too much for me. The most I've ever dabbled in was just like doing small mixes for dance performances. Yeah. So that was the most I'd ever did before that. But what really inspired me now was electronic music. Mm-hmm. So me and two of my friends in LA, we started going out to shows, to events. So our first event that really changed us was it's a festival called Cross Festival in San Diego. And it was actually my friend. He's also a b-boy.
Okay.
He never was into electronic music. He thought all the electronic music are like EDM, uns type of music, because we met in Korea, and all the electronic music in Korea was just trash. All the club music was trash. Yeah. So I don't blame him, but his girlfriend now brought him to like a show. It's like a 7-line show. And then I showed him another artist, Griffin from the Bay Area. And his mind was blown. He's flipped. He's like, oh, it's not just uns. You can actually have like feels and more melodies and more feelings. And it's not just like party music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's me seeing him kind of like flip 180 and going to like all the raves, all the events, really like has all the energy for all of this. And that really got us like wanting to be more involved.
Yeah.
And then we have another friend that's already learning how to do music. And that got us into it.
Yeah.
So, and I have to say, like, the music that's coming out now it's another golden era. You know how we always
It is, yeah.
Yeah, because of how technology allows us to do more. Yeah. There's so much more possibilities. And
it's connected genres is what I've seen, is like you get some weird stuff where it's like electronic music mixed with like, I don't know, some wild freaking death metal or whatever, and you're like, what the heck is this? But it sounds kind of crazy, and people are experimenting a lot.
What really I got into electronic music was actually partly because of A Game, who got into house way before I did. And house music was really my anchor into electronic music. And actually, with the history that I know, electronic music originated like has a lot of it owed to house music, Chicago house music, disco. So that's just another thing. And I love that music, and I love the culture, and I love the dance, house dancing, freestyling, the club culture. So all of that. And then back then, I got into house in 2010. And then I was exposed to new music through this YouTube channel called Majestic Casual. In 2012. Okay. And that opened me up to like a whole new sound. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not fully like, because I was exposed to house music and then like no dubstep and all that. But Majestic Casual brought in another different type of sound that's like a mix of hip hop, a mix of, like different parts of electronic. I don't even know. And pop. So yeah, I was always inspired by the new sound. But never really like got into it until I have like friends to learn with. So that's another thing. If someone, it's the same with breaking. It's a lot better to learn with friends. Learning new things is so much more fun with people. Yeah. And music has this amazing impact on people. And I've seen at events how music has affected people. And I kind of like, oh, dude, I know. And then let's try it. And then it's amazing how you have tools on your like fingertips that could do that, like bring thousands and thousands of people out and make them feel something.
Yeah, that's tight. Yeah, no, I look at music as like dancing to me. Yeah, I've been doing music production for maybe like about a year or two. And like I guess I started when I was in high school. DJing, I learned how to DJ, like basically as I learned how to break. We would sometimes bring turntables to our practice and just, one guy would DJ and then the next guy would switch out and then people were practicing as it. So it was pretty fun. Me and my brother and a couple other people would do it.
I started DJing, actually learning how to DJ back in September, October.
Oh, really? Yeah. I've been meaning to pick it back up because when I learned it was before like Serato and stuff, and so I don't know really how to use any of that crap. I just have vinyl, and I don't even have a big collection of vinyl, but I just had a lot of like breaks and crap. Yeah, and I learned on some pretty crappy turntables and stuff, and I had a pretty crappy mixer, but I did what I could.
I guess my DJing is like more mixing and song selection versus like actual like turntablism or like actual DJing with like vinyl. Yeah. But I'm more interested in song selections and like interesting transitions between tracks and like mashups and edits.
Yeah, mashups are tight.
Things that you can that is fresh. Because I'm just blown away by just kids who produce like bangers from their bedroom. That has millions of like hits. And it worked really well. It's just, it's amazing. And I know like some people be like, oh, music now is trash and all that. But I feel like, there's a thing that's the golden years is always going to be your formative years of when you grow up. Yeah. Between when you're a teenager to like college. Those will always be considered as your golden age for different. That's different for everybody.
Yeah.
But a lot of people fail to realize, to open up their ears or eyes, that what's going on now is someone else's golden years. Era. And it's just as amazing as the generation before.
You know what I like to remind people of is that, like, especially with hip hop, it's always been kind of a counterculture.
Yep.
And we wanted to do something different. And so we would make our music different than what's going on now. We would get influence from stuff, jazz music, soul music, whatever.
Yeah.
And you'd pull it in, and then you'd make something cool, with it or inspired by it. And that's what our golden years were.
Yep.
And nowadays, they're just doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Except they're getting influenced by the stuff that, like we were influenced by, or what we had created. So it's kind of just like stacking on itself now. And they still have the counterculture to them, because they're like, I don't want to do what those guys did. Exactly. That's why it doesn't sound the same. And that's why people from our generation, a lot of them are like, oh, what are these youngins doing? And it's like, dude, shut up, man. Like, they're just doing what we did. And
exactly,
that's, you should want them to do that, because they're expressing their creativity. You don't have to like it. I mean, I don't like everything, but I like what they are doing, because they're traversing around the sounds that they hear and making something cool out of it. And a lot of times you have to travel around a whole lot of garbage to get to something dope. And I think that the journey is a good one. And I mean, I hear so much good music nowadays, but I know that they probably have a backlog of trash that they made.
You can't deny millions of plays. You can't deny a following. You can't deny the fans and the culture that music creates.
Yeah.
Music is like the backbone for a lot of different cultures, including breaking. Like, if it weren't for DJ Kool Herc, if it weren't for the breaks, we would not have been really breaking the way that we do. And so, like, all these music has their own legitimacy. It's my quirk, or it's my pet peeve to see guys even our age or older be like, trash talking kids and what they create, trash talking their culture, when they went through the exact same thing when they were kids.
It's the same
so
thing.
I was like, appreciate, like, open up a bit, appreciate the beauty of everything. Which is like, I was so inspired. The other thing is, I didn't understand dubstep, today's dubstep.
Oh yeah, dubstep. Yeah, it's very weird.
The hard stuff. I did not understand it. I did not understand headbanging to dubstep, which is like now a thing. Before, I didn't think it was like a thing to even headbang to dubstep. The old dubstep was like more like a lot more grimier, a lot more slow. And definitely, I don't think people were headbanging to those type of dubstep. But now, that's what you do. And I didn't understand it. I thought that wasn't my thing. I was like, dude, that's way too hard for me. But I actually went to EDC, and then that opened me up like completely. Like, that made me like, oh, I get it now. Like, I understand it, because it's, you just have to be there with the people who are in it. You have to be immersed in that culture to understand, like, yo, this is dope.
I always dubstep is crazy. Like, when I first heard it, I was like, what the heck is this? It sounds like Optimus Prime, like taking a shit or something. Like
robot sex noises.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but I was like, dude, this sounds hella crazy. It didn't sound like music to me at first, though, because it sounds like a bunch of like noises. But like, the more you listen to it and, like, I guess embrace like what they're doing, it's like the more you appreciate it. And I think that once I started seeing that, I'm like, dude, this is really tight. They're taking it somewhere else. They're taking music somewhere else. It's a counterculture. They're saying like, I want to do something different. Bam, here it is. What do you think about it? And then it evolved. And I mean, now I feel like so many types of styles of modern music take elements of dubstep now. The other thing I've grown a big appreciation for is mumble rap. Is like, because when I first heard it, I was like, dude, what the hell are they saying?
There's no talent, right?
Like, Yeah.
Or it sounds like there's no talent.
And I was like, dude, what the hell are they doing? And then I've always really liked punk rock, like screaming and freaking just going crazy and like basically making some inaudible kind of noises. And then when I made the connection that, dude, punk rock is based on a counterculture, just like mumble rap is. And the same reason that they were making music the way that they were doing in punk rock is the same reason that they're doing it in mumble rap. I was like, dude, I can't be a hater because they're doing the same thing, but they're doing it their own way. And that's when I really grew a big appreciation for it.
Exact same. And I started listening to actually what helped me appreciate that music and that genre a lot more was the covers of those songs. Like the acoustic covers. Yeah. That really brought out the different elements and the melodic and the composition.
It is very melodic, actually. Yeah. A lot of it.
And I was like, dude, it's beautiful. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And then, and you know, the issues, the lyrical content, it's kind of like the same how, you know, back in nowadays, you know, all the hip hop was just about booty hoes and Cash Money and all that. It's just,
shout out to Cash Money. Yeah. I love Cash Money.
Yeah, so it's a different flavor. It's just there's so much good talent, and there's a reason why they're big, because the kids connected to it, people connected to it on a different level, on an emotional level, on you know, a level that makes them feel a certain way, like makes them feel good. So, and that's for me truly what music is the goal of music is to move people, and if it moves anybody, you've accomplished your goal as a musician.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no.
And it doesn't matter how you get there, you know. There's a meme that says, oh, DJs are not real musicians, they're just pushing buttons. And then the meme was like, and then the pianist like, don't look at me.
I didn't even think about that. That's really funny. Piano's just pushing buttons.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy, and things are moving so fast that we just don't understand, or some people just can't embrace that change. How like the more things change, the more they're kind of the same. Yeah.
A lot of times when I make music, I get into the mentality as if I was gonna dance, and I just sit in front of my keyboard. A lot of times I don't have anything in mind. I just have a feeling that I have, and then I'll just like kind of scroll through some different like sounds and stuff, and I'll be like, okay, this is cool. Or maybe like I'll just make a sound, and then I just start playing or whatever, and then like stuff just happens for me, and then I'm like, okay, I kind of like what I'm playing and whatever, and then I'll just like record it, and then just play around with it, and that's how I just make all of my stuff, and I don't care if it's trash. Fuck you guys, I think it's trash.
I mean, we all gotta start somewhere. For any artistic endeavor, you just keep pushing it, go through your phases, your learning phases, and then and I'm actually surprised. I just love I'm just soaking in so much knowledge about music now that I'm surprised that I've be able to even talk about music, because a year ago that's just like it was too much for me.
But it's I think it's very similar to dancing though, and because I'm a dancer, I think I understand music pretty like on a subconscious level sort of, because it's like you already know how music is composed because you dance to it, and so you like know the kind of patterns that make something sound good. And so now instead of listening to someone else's music, you're like, okay, how do I do that? Okay, I know the pattern. Okay, I like these notes together. Bam, now that's music.
You know, I think I've always been kind of like musically challenged. Never really had the ear. And then even when I'm dancing, I feel like it's there. I let my body react to it.
Yeah.
But I'm not consciously like soaking in the types of patterns or the type of melodies or what's going on in the song. Usually when I dance, I let my body react.
Okay. I always like to listen. Like when I dance, I'll pull in a song and I'll try to pick out all the sounds in it. Like here's the drums. you know, here's a snare, it goes on this pattern. Here's like hi-hats, it goes on this pattern. Yeah. And okay, here's a horn, and it's doing this. And then here's the bass line, it's doing that. So I try to pick out every layer of the song, and it makes you be able to dance better, I think, because now you go, okay, I'm going to follow the bass line right now. Now I'm going to go hit all these snare beats or whatever. Now I'm going to focus on this horn sound. And I don't know, just being able to pick that out in a song is really helpful, because when you go in and create it, now you go, okay, I know what good music sounds like with all these layers. Now I'm going to make my own kind of thing. I want to have a layer that's, you know, in a high frequency. Okay, I want to do this. I want to have some low frequency stuff, you know, whatever. And then you just layer it all together and then just play around. It's fun because you're just playing, really. That's
crazy. Yeah, you definitely have an ear for it. I had to learn, like, how to, like, even listen more analytically.
Do you think you're better at that now?
No, because that's not my automatic mode of listening to music. When I listen to it, I just like follow, kind of probably like a normal listener. Just follow the lead, or just like go with the mood of the song. But never really, if I were to break apart, I really had to like put mental energy into like, all right, I need to break this apart. This is what's going on here, and that's a layer, and here's a layer. But on normal listening, I don't do that.
When I first started doing it, it wasn't easy, but eventually it just became natural to like do it, because you'll hear something, and then you'll hear like a random sound, and you're like, oh, where's that going? And then you follow it. Oh, I didn't even notice that it did this, and then stuff like that. So I don't know, and it's fun to just figure out that.
I should really get on that, and that's more like I think that's what they call ear training. And I should be more conscious of it and really work on my ear training.
Dude, just listen to the radio and do it. I do it all the time, because it's like you'll hear just a song that's just playing all the time on the radio or whatever, and you know how the song goes, so then you don't need to pay attention to like what is obvious in the song. So now you go, okay, I want to find out what's deeper into it. So then sometimes you'll try to follow, like, sometimes I just try to follow one drum sound. Like, what is the snare doing? Do. Sometimes it's really simple. Sometimes it's kind of crazy. Sometimes it's in some weird pattern that doesn't even make sense. But you never noticed that before. Because it's not the most obvious thing. So, I would say just pick out a sound in it and just try to follow
I think that's part of being in the moment and really be present, because I think when I listen to music, I would be like, something else is going on. I would be thinking about something else. So
it was actually a popper that taught me how to do that. His name is Brandon Greathouse from Sacramento. He's Nobody, if you know who that is. Yeah. He's got an amazing ear, and I don't know. He just taught me how to do that, and I don't know. I'm not as good as him by any means, but like, he really helped me understand music.
I took that advice and really work on that. Listening more intently and following a journey of a song through a sound.
Dope. Well, we've been going for about over an hour and 30 minutes. My bad. We probably no, dude, that's good. I think this has been a really good show. So is there any shout outs you want to do, or like anything you want to plug before we close the show?
I guess.
Listen to my shitty outro.
Shout out to Hybrid Crew, all the San Jose B-Boys, A1 Crew. Another crew I'm part of. Stance, we are out here trying to make things happen, and it's all out of love through everything that we do. And also, if you listen to electronic music, Red Flags is our group name.
And that's on SoundCloud?
Yep, SoundCloud, okay. Red Flags with the 3 instead of the E.
Dope. Okay. Well, there it is, man. Thank you for being on the show. I'm really glad that you're on. I'd love to have you back to talk about all these kinds of things more. And, as bigger things happen in the scene, I'd like to get your take on it. Definitely, like with Breakin coming into the Olympics soon, I think that's it'd be an interesting thing to talk to you about.
For sure.
So thank you for being on, and thank you guys for listening. Peace.